Last time you were here, I briefly introduced Spirit of Health, but for those who are just tuning in and aren't and don't understand what it is,
Sure.
Explain a little bit before we go to our first break on what Spirit of Health is.
Sure. We're a full wellness center, and we offer pretty much everything you can think of related to wellness. We have a full retail store with vitamins, minerals, herbs. We have about 3,000 different products. All of our herbs are organic or wildcrafted. My wife's a PT, physical therapist, so she actually has a Pilates studio. So we do Pilates classes, dance classes, children's classes, private Pilates lessons. We also have therapies, the ion detox foot baths. We do magnetic therapy devices. We have a Rife machine, lymph massage, far infrared sauna. And then, of course, we do the consultation side as well. We have 4 different practitioners. We work with all variety of chronic illness. We do a full service lab testing, blood, hair, urine, stool, looking for the root cause of why people have their chronic illness, their sickness or disease, which is usually related to toxicity. So different deficiencies, toxicities people might have like mold or fungus or heavy metals, environmental toxins, etc., Lyme disease. We check all of those things.
And that is something that a lot of other doctors don't do. And that's where you're looking for the root and not just a patch.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we call it root cause medicine.
Right, because a lot of people just go to the doctor and they give them a patch.
Right.
You know, not a patch, but a patch
pharmaceutical
on
drug.
A pharmaceutical drug
to
that will relieve symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is still there no matter what.
Right. Right.
So
There's always an underlying issue.
Yeah, you continually have to take this medication.
Right.
It's like a Ponzi scheme, isn't it?
Well, that's how people end up on 5, 10, 12, 15 medications. They say the average person over 65 is on over 15 medications.
I'm not quite at 65, but less than a year ago, I was on 19.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
19.
Yeah. It's crazy how that can happen.
I know.
Yeah.
They just keep giving you something else to take care of the symptoms, the side effects from something else.
Right.
And it just snowballs into this huge effect. All right. We're going to dive more into that. Spirit of Health is located at 5901 Main Street in Grandview, Missouri. You can find all their information at spiritofhealthkc.com. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be diving in to getting ready for spring with your health and wellness on This is Kansas City. Welcome back to This is Kansas City. We are joined in studio with Spirit of Health and Dr. Vaughn Lawrence. They're located at 5901 Main Street in Grandview, Missouri. spiritofhealthkc.com. Just remember that name because I know I get a lot of calls afterwards or a lot of emails. Who was that on your show? spiritofhealthkc.com. All right, when we left off, we're going to talk about getting ready for spring. So getting ready for spring, there's a lot of common health questions that come through at this time, and I'm sure you see all of this stuff happening. I mean, it happens every season, right?
Sure, yeah. Like
everything changes.
Spring allergies and those things, yeah.
And influenza and infectious diseases, pneumonia and all of that,
right.
And that, because those, that's a virus, right? And one of the questions was, what's the difference between a bacteria and a virus? That's pretty easy to answer.
I mean, they are different organisms, and
totally different.
Yep, and you can test for those. You can test to see what you have. You know, whether it's in blood work or there's different urine tests and different things we have to check for different types of bacteria, fungus, mold, viruses. You know, and then the treatments are different. There are herbal protocols and things that work better for bacteria. There's other things that work better for viruses. The great thing about herbs is a lot of herbs have a crossover. So, for example, silver. You've heard about people maybe taking silver.
Heavy metal silver?
Yeah, silver. Yeah, colloidal silver. We don't recommend colloidal silver. We recommend a nano hydrosol silver. It's a smaller particle size, but that'll actually work against bacteria and viruses both. Oregano will work against bacteria and viruses both. So some herbs are better for bacteria, some are better for viruses, some cover both.
And the follow-up question to that was, is that antibiotics the only thing to use can you use them for a viral infection? And I knew that answer. I said, no,
no.
They do not work against a virus.
Right.
So anybody who has a virus out there, if you go to the doctor and the doctor gives you antibiotics, it's doing more harm than good.
Right.
Because your body's going to get used to taking it. You'll be...
you're damaging your good bacteria.
You're damaging all of that.
Which is weakening your immune system.
So you have to determine whether it's a virus or it's a bacteria.
Yeah, ideally.
Yeah.
Ideally, yeah.
Okay, so here was some of the... So getting back to getting ready for spring with Spirit of Health and Dr. Vaughn. Doctor, tell a big part of this was about allergens. This is the time where we get high mold counts, high pollen counts.
Right.
All of these allergens that affect a lot of people. Mm-hmm. One of the questions was, is there anything we can do rather than going and taking an over-the-counter medicine, Zyrtec, or even a prescription one?
Right. So, Zyrtec, Claritin, Mucinex. What a lot of those medications do is dry out your mucous membranes. So, again, that's not dealing with what the problem is, which is the actual allergen itself. So, the root issue is that your body's congested, your lymphatic system's congested. Why do some people get affected by allergies and some people don't? It really comes down to how congested or how clogged. What I call them clogged filters. So, let's say you have regular head, sinus, congestion type of issues. There's different things. We have like sinus sprays, right? Like that are natural, that have oregano or silver, like I mentioned, or sea salt or some other things that'll clear out your head and your mucous membranes and clear those allergens out of your system. So the ones I use, we have a formula called Sinus and Brain Steam Detox. I absolutely love that formula. You boil water, you take the herbs, you add it to the water, and you put a towel over your head and you steam basically your head. And it has all these antimicrobial herbs, and it has things that open up all the pathways and clear everything out, and people actually get mucus and junk out of their system. So that's a great thing to do. And then we have formulas like Dehist, which is a natural antihistamine. You hear about like histamine responses to allergens. There are a lot of products on the market, over-the-counter drugs that are antihistamines that people need to take because of histamine responses. We have another one called Hello Blossom that has clay in it. So clay adsorbs. So what adsorb mean? It's different than absorbing something. A sponge absorbs. Adsorb is it's like a magnet. So when you put clay in your body, the allergens are attracted to it like a magnet, and they grab onto the clay, and then that clay flushes out of your system. And I have seen that work for allergens for years and years and years with people. So taking liquid bentonite clay or a formula like Hello Blossom, it's by Herbally Grounded, or a natural antihistamine like Dehist, or the Sinus and Brain Steam Detox, or a natural sinus spray. And again, as we've said before, these things work with the body. They're herbs created by God. They're not man-made pharmaceutical drugs that actually work against the design of the human body. And what a lot of those pharmaceutical drugs, again, is dry out your mucous membranes. They're not actually dealing with or doing anything with the allergens. They're just drying out your system so that you don't have the response to them.
And decongestants, right? They not only... They raise your blood pressure.
Yeah.
Am I right about that?
Yeah, they have side effects for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to do that.
Right.
I mean, especially if you're, you have hypertension or you have high blood pressure. So you got to be careful with what you're picking out when it comes to over-the-counter drugs or pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. The things that you're talking about, do they have side effects?
I always joke that they have side benefits. So they don't have any negative side effects like pharmaceutical drugs do, but they have side benefits. So you might be taking them for a specific purpose, and they're going to work for that purpose, but they're also going to help with other things because they're herbs, again, designed for the body by God. They work with the body, so they're going to help multiple functions of the body. Whereas a pharmaceutical drug is basically engineered by somebody in a white lab coat who's messing with the molecular structure of like coal tar or some kind of a petrochemical and forcing an action on the body, whether you want that or not, or whether you like that or not. That's a forced action versus an herb or a plant that's actually designed for the human body.
I see. It makes sense. All right. Now, moving on. Commonly asked questions about getting ready for spring. One of them came up, and I know we've talked about it before, but I can't believe it came up, and it was Lyme disease. Because we've talked about this before.
Right.
And the first time I met you and you were talking about that, I was like, how many people have that? I mean, what is it, 1 in 1,000?
Well, 1 in 1,000 would be a lot of people.
I know.
I mean, if there's 350 million people or however many people in the United States.
So is it about that level?
I don't know. I heard it's the fastest growing disease in the world, that 400,000 or so new people get diagnosed every year. I mean, it is definitely become an epidemic problem. I mean, the Lyme doctors, at least in Kansas City, it's months to get in to see them. I mean, it is a problem.
So this Lyme disease, can you explain what it is and where it comes from so that we have an understanding of, the people listening have an understanding of what it is, what it can do to your body, and how you get it?
Yeah. So, I mean, this would be going down a rabbit hole, so I won't go there, but I will say I do believe it's a bioengineered weapon created by our government. You can look into that. There's actually books written about that. But the reason it's called Lyme disease is because it started in Lyme, Connecticut.
Oh, is that right?
That's where the first instances occurred.
Why.
Yep, was in Lyme, Connecticut. And it originally was spread by a tick bite, the classic bullseye rash, which a lot of us have heard. But the challenge now, it's now spread through mosquitoes, oak mites, even cats, dogs, and there can be even human transmission. I know whole families where
Cats
the mom,
and dogs?
Yep, I know families.
After biting you?
I don't know if it's necessarily biting them, but it's just it can transmit through fluids, which is how it can transmit through humans as well. You know, dogs lick people in the face and things like that, right? Parasites can be passed that way.
Because a dog will pick up a lot of ticks, maybe if it's out there, or
totally. Yep.
What about those people playing golf and stuff that have all the chigger bites all over their legs?
I don't know it being spread through chiggers. But
okay. So you're saying that mosquitoes, though?
Yes, definitely mosquitoes. It's definitely spread through other ways now. So people are like, well, I've never been bit by a tick, or I never had the bullseye rash. Well, it doesn't mean you don't have Lyme disease. And if anybody's struggling with any kind of chronic illness or chronic fatigue or serious joint pain, especially, I tell people if your joint pain is moving, okay, like it's in your hands one day and it's in your knees one day and it's your shoulder. It seems like it moves around. It's not a consistent pain. That's a very common symptom of Lyme disease. So is chronic upper neck pain, like the occipital area of the upper neck or the upper cervical spine is another common area where Lyme manifests, chronic knee pain. So, yeah, if you're struggling with pain or chronic fatigue, you definitely should get checked for Lyme.
Okay. All right. And you can do that.
Yeah, it's
so
it's
that
done
brings
through
me
blood
to
work.
early detection.
Yeah, blood work is how you check Lyme. And a lot of the traditional medical tests out there, Western blot and some of the other tests, are notoriously false positive, false negatives, maybe at best 50% accuracy. The testing we use, Vibrant Labs, is, I think, the best in the world for Lyme disease testing. And I love that because I have 100% confidence that when I test somebody for Lyme and it shows up positive, I know it's accurate. And I don't think other labs can say that, and definitely traditional medical model cannot say that. I've had people come to me with blood work. Oh, I was checked for Lyme. I'm like, oh, what did they check? And they checked one organism, and Borrelia burgdorferi, which is the organism, which is a bacteria, spirochete bacteria that causes Lyme disease, has dozens of different forms of species. So if they're checking one, they are not checking for Lyme disease or the co-infections of Lyme. We check 50-some markers for Lyme disease.
And you were just mentioning some of the symptoms about the joint pain and the moving joint pain and things, but can it progress? If it's in your body not treated, what can it actually do other than make your joints hurt or spread around and give you fatigue? Can it end up being critical, is my point.
It absolutely is. Yeah, and people who have been chronically ill for 10, 15, 20 years probably have Lyme disease and or mold. That's what I see in the sickest sick people when they've gone for years or decades with no diagnosis or no even determination of what's going on with them. What happens is that, think of it this way, your body has basically two modes. Okay, mode number one is produce energy and live life. right? That's the one we want. Mode number 2 is survival and trying to fight off a chronic infection that it can never get past. And if your body is in that fight or flight, fighting off an immune response, fighting off an infection, always have inflammation and an elevated immune response, your body's going to be wiped out and you're going to be tired and you have no life force left to produce energy. So yeah, it basically takes over the immune system and causes that person to like really feel defeated and unmotivated.
Would that lower the white blood cell count so that your immune system is more susceptible to other diseases that are out there?
Absolutely. Yeah. Once your immune system's down, then yeah, anything you come across mono or strep or a flu or COVID or whatever. And yeah, I mean, people are out for the count because they just don't have the immune system to handle it anymore. And that's why you see infectious disease increasing, you see chronic illness increasing, because people's immune systems have been shot for the last 100 years because, sadly, I hate to say it, mainly because of our medical system, but also because of all the processed foods, the chemicals in our foods, the chemicals in our crops, the chemicals in our personal care products, right? Like we've just been inundated with poisons that have damaged people's immune systems, and now these infections are taking over people's bodies.
I've seen all of that, and you just watch it every day on the news now, and I mean it just keeps coming. I mean there's more and more and more, and I think that it is a big problem. But I think it is our food too.
Right.
I think our food and the processed food that we eat and the things that we put into our body. If you go to the store, will you please read a label before you buy the product, people? Because just read the label.
Yeah.
If you can't identify 5 or more things on that ingredients
list, if you can't
list,
pronounce it, you shouldn't buy it, right?
Shouldn't buy it. And look at the salt content and look at some of these other things that you're ingesting into your body. That's a big part of our health is what we put into our bodies.
Right. Absolutely.
So, that we were talking about Lyme disease, and you were talking about some early detection and other things. Can it be cured?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, people do antibiotics for Lyme disease. I'm sure you've heard that. So
heavy antibiotics.
Yeah, what I say and what I feel is if that's possible, if you catch it very, very, very early. If you don't catch it right away and that's in set even for a few months and you do antibiotics, you're basically destroying that person's immune system. And I've seen that. I mean, I've seen teenage girls in my office hooked up to IV antibiotics for a year for Lyme disease and literally could not even go outside for more than a few minutes because she was so allergic to everything. She was so responsive to everything in the environment because she had basically no immune system by getting hooked up to IV antibiotics. So antibiotic treatment for Lyme disease is very, very, very dangerous unless you catch it immediately. So the way I've always looked at Lyme disease, it's not really it's not as much an infectious disease problem as is an immune system problem. So what you have to do is simultaneously build the person's immune system while clearing the infection out of their body, and you have to get the body to a place where their immune system is stronger than the infection. When people have Lyme disease in their body, it's throughout the whole body. There's millions of these organisms. I know it sounds crazy or creepy, but like we have millions of cells. There's millions of these bacteria in people's bodies, in their blood, in their organs, in their tissues. Like it takes months to clear that out, build that person's immune system, and get, again, their immune system back on top of this so that they can live a normal life. And that takes time. And the longer they've had it, the harder it is to overcome and the longer it takes. But you absolutely can do it. I found some amazing treatments for Lyme that I've used in my clinic successfully for years. And it's one of the main things I see now is Lyme disease.
If you were talking about the lowering of the immune system, and you can get a simple blood test at any of your doctors and find out what your white blood cell count is,
right,
what your red blood cell count is, and then you can determine, okay, I have a compromised immune system, and with a compromised immune system, I want to find out how to build up my immunity, my immune system.
Right.
And they can't give an answer.
Right.
Never gave me an answer whatsoever. We don't know.
Right.
stay inside. Don't go around people.
Which is probably the worst idea.
Don't go to movie theaters. Don't go around large groups. Just stay away from people.
Right.
So I felt like a hermit for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So is there anything natural we can do for our bodies to build up that immune system?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's everything God gave us. It's the opposite. I mean, it's sad to say that most of the advice we're going to get out there from a doctor, the answer means to do the opposite. So you should be outside. You should be in the sun. You should be around people because that's what actually builds your natural immunity. Nobody is going to avoid sickness and disease, avoid a virus. I mean, if people had any concept of how many bacteria and viruses we encounter every day as human beings, I'm talking millions, you would actually see scientifically how silly it is to try to avoid a virus or to avoid sickness, which is why COVID was such a farce, and mask was such a farce. It was so unscientific, it was mind-boggling. And now it's all coming out.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Totally. It's all coming out now.
I refuse to wear masks at my place. The health department visited us. I said, come to my place again, and I'll call the sheriff, and I'll have you removed. We will not fall to this silliness. Right?
Here's the thing on the mask. So the COVID virus is extremely small.
Right.
I forgot what the level
and we know it goes
was.
through those masks, right?
Well, here, if you're out and you're standing next to a barbecue place and you're wearing a mask and you can smell barbecue,
right?
The virus of COVID is 120 times smaller than a smoke particle from a barbecue restaurant.
Wow.
So if you can smell that stuff through your mask,
right,
that means it's not stopping a thing.
Right. The whole 6-foot distancing thing, I mean, let's not get into that, but the whole thing was ridiculous, and we all know it now. We didn't at the time because we didn't know. We were scared, and we're like, oh my gosh, and we're listening to what these idiots are saying, right? But, we've learned.
There's still people that are wearing masks. Now, what is it, the hospital surgical mask, which is the M9 or something?
Right.
That one's okay to prevent something while you're performing surgery.
That's different.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you're wearing a cloth mask it's not going to, and people are still doing it.
I know. So go back to answer your question. Sunshine, fresh water, ocean water, clean water, organic foods, fruits and vegetables. I mean, if doctors aren't at least telling people that, I mean, where are their heads at? That's so obvious for how we build a healthy, strong immune system. And then taking herbs, taking herbal teas, taking oregano, doing garlic, doing lemon, doing ginger. There's so many medicinal things that you can buy at the store for cheap. You can start juicing. There's so many things. We just need to know about it.
Every time I talk to you, it sounds like I got to get that oregano plant
yeah.
and just get it growing because I'm telling you.
Oregano's a miracle. There's no doubt. Very thankful.
It sounds, and I love, cooking with oregano and all of that. So if I cook with it, I get the benefits?
Yeah, but you want to get a medicinal type. We've talked about, quality.
Quality, I got it. And we're going to keep talking about quality. And I want to find out what the effect of damaging sun can be on the body. We're going to talk about that right after we get back from break. This is Kansas City. Welcome back to This is Kansas City. We are joined in studio with Dr. Vaughn Lawrence from Spirit of Health. Located at 5901 Main Street in Grandview, Missouri, they're a complete wellness center. So they have everything from consultations with doctors to all kinds of physical and wellness programs that go on, like Pilates and all these different things. Plus, their retail shop has, I don't know how many herbs and natural remedies would you say that are in that?
We have about 300 single herbs that you can buy individually, and then we have 60 of our own formulas that we've created.
And that one formula for inflammation.
Mm-hmm. The inflammation tea.
No, the other
one. Dotacin.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a capsule product, yeah.
Boy, does that work.
Yeah,
and that's your proprietary.
Yeah, we created that. Or we didn't create it, but we bought that formula from somebody else, and
it works.
And we refined it a little bit, made it a little better. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that works. And so what that's going to do for you, and I'll get back to our spring subject, but what that's going to do for you, or at least what it's done for me, is I take that and I don't have to take Advil.
Right.
Because the Advil, of course, it's a deflammatory prescription, or not prescription, but pharmaceutical, but it's very dangerous for the body. It can cause stomach bleeding and all kinds of different
ulcers,
things.
kidney failure, liver problems.
Yes. So, and the same with acetaminophen.
Yep.
You know, it can cause major liver problems.
Yep.
So this is that's a good. Okay, getting back to where we left off, we were talking about getting ready for spring. We mentioned some of the allergens that are out there and what you can do for that. We also talked about the importance of understanding what Lyme disease is, because Lyme disease is increasing throughout the country.
It is.
It is. And it's spread through mosquitoes and ticks and other
Animals, even human transmission, yes.
So, and what you have to be careful with is those symptoms, they're not 100% sudden, are they?
No, it usually happens slowly over time. People notice, some joint pain, maybe I have arthritis, and then it gets worse and worse and worse. And then people are like, oh my gosh, like I've been sick for years and I'm realizing how bad it's getting. And a lot of times that's what Lyme disease is. It starts out subtle, and people don't think anything of it. They're just trying to live life, right? And then when it becomes so debilitating that it's affecting their life, that's when they're going to look for answers.
Okay. Just so for clarifying, you could always call Spirit of Health, or I don't know if you do it on your website, but you can always call them for a free 15-minute discovery call.
Right.
To get more information, explain what you're looking for, and they will help you on a 100% free 15-minute call to one of their people.
Yeah, or if you just have general questions about allergies or whatever, you can call the retail store. Our staff's very well trained, and you can ask any other questions.
Okay, and so if I was looking for something, let's say for what we were talking about here, I went into Spirit of Health right on Main Street in Grandview, and I say to them, this is what I need. They'll be able to direct me.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Now, when we left off, we were talking about some of the things about spring to look out for, and other than Lyme disease, we talked about sleep, and they have a lot of natural remedies, or I don't want to say remedies, natural
They're remedies.
For increasing your sleep if you're having difficulty sleeping. One thing I know for myself is that I wake up every morning, no matter what, at the same time. I can't sleep late. I just wake up every morning at 4 a.m. And I'm like, okay, I don't know.
If you're going to bed by 9, that might not be bad.
I know. And I do.
So, there you go.
I'm more productive in the morning.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, now, this was one of the other questions. With the onset of spring, and we're going to experience some 80-degree days are coming up on us. So when we experience some of these, people tend to go, I want to go out in the sun. I need that vitamin D, and I want to go out there. And then they get sunburned.
Right.
And it really... Now, I have to tell you another personal story. So I've had two types of cancers. I have had my one cancer, that I talked to you about before, and then I've had melanoma, where they had to cut that out and then actually skin graft back onto my body, which was incredibly painful and took a lot of time because of melanoma, which is dangerous, especially to a lot of older people. You can die from it.
Right.
And that's overexposure to the infrared from the sun, right?
Well, that's not what causes melanoma.
What causes melanoma?
So all cancers are a toxicity from the inside of the body out. Okay? So here's the example I give people, because I really think this is important. Because, again, I look at everything from a perspective of God's design. How long have human beings been living in the sun?
About 2.5 million years.
All of human history, we have lived in the sun. There are still people groups in Africa that live outside in the sun all day, every day, which, by the way, have the lowest rates of cancer in the world. And also statistically, those who live near the equator, where the sun is the strongest, have per capita the lowest rates of skin cancer in the entire world. So blaming skin cancer on the sun, honestly, is pretty ridiculous. It goes completely against God's design of the human body. The other thing we have to look at is the human body is designed to absorb light. Why would our melanin change? And why would our skin get darker? And why would we be able to get in the sun and get more and more and more tan if we weren't designed by God to absorb light? And there's actually things that you can take. Have you heard of antioxidants? You've heard that term, right?
Of course.
It protects against oxidative damage on the body. So if you do high amounts of antioxidants, which by the way, fruits and vegetables are high in antioxidants, well, what are people eating? Fast food, junk food, soda pop, candy, sweets, junk. So if you have poor health in your body and you get sun, the sun will burn your body because your body is not healthy. But if your body's full of fruits, vegetables, antioxidants, and I'll tell you a product I've been promoting for years, and ever since I started taking this product, I do not burn anymore. It's called BioAstin. It's a red algae. It's made by a company called Nutrex. And I tell people, if you're going to go in the sun, my kids are here, they can attest to this. When we go to Hawaii, because my wife's born and raised in Hawaii, when we go back to Hawaii, we start taking astaxanthin every day. We start getting in the sun, and you will start to increase your tan, and you will not burn. Why? Because your body's healthy. You have hydration. You have lots of antioxidants. You will absorb sun because you're designed by God to absorb light. So people who are getting chronic cancers in their body is because their body's not well. And when those toxins come to the surface of the body and the sun, which is extremely powerful, we have to respect the sun, right? Like you could not lay out in the sun all day and get fried. Like that would be just, that would not be common sense, right? But the sicker your body is, the more the damage the sun's going to do. The healthier your body, the more the sun is going to work for you the way God designed it to, because your body's made of light. We're designed to absorb light, and we should have more light inside of our bodies. We will get the benefits from the sun if we're healthy. Our skin will burn, and we'll get cancer if our bodies are unhealthy. So it's not, what I'm saying is it's not the sun's fault. It comes down to whether our bodies are healthy or not.
So what you were talking about for that is that, what is it called? BioAstin?
BioAstin. It's a red algae.
But I heard red algae was very dangerous.
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, maybe there's different types. I don't know.
I saw it in a movie.
I don't know.
It was Sahara with.
Well, this is a supplement I've been using for, I mean, my gosh, 10 plus years. I mean, stuff's
Kids
amazing.
take it?
Kids take it.
All right. Have you burned? Oh, okay.
We went to Hawaii last August.
She's shaking her head, just by the way. We're on radio.
We went to Hawaii last August for an entire month. And if we were in the sun all day, I'm talking we got to the beach at 8, 9 in the morning, we were going to be there all day, we would put a little sunscreen on their nose because that's the most vulnerable place.
Sure.
That's it. Little sunscreen on the nose, we would be good for the whole day.
Nobody burned?
Nope.
Nobody burned.
Wow.
Or if I hadn't been in the sun a while and I was in there for hours and hours and I looked burned, I would wake up the next morning and I was tan because of the antioxidants that were in my body. Now, in that situation, you can't get skin cancer. I don't have one iota of concern or fear that anyone in my family or our children are going to get skin cancer ever. And I'm going to promote us getting in the sun as much as possible and not avoiding it. So I think all the propaganda around the sun is dangerous, the sun causes cancer. Again, I'm not saying
that's just what I've been told.
Yeah, and I'm not saying the sun can't cause damage to the human body, but it's not the sun's fault, is my point. It's not God's fault for creating the sun, right? Like, animals need sun. Does your dog or cat go find that little sliver of sun to go lay inside? Yeah, they go lay in the sun. Plants can't live without sun. Nothing can live without sun. So since when is the sun bad for us?
Except
since
for those
we started eating
at the bottom of the ocean.
Since we started eating processed food is when the sun became bad for us.
I agree with that 100%. Boy, do I ever agree with that.
Yeah.
The invention of processed food was devastating to the health of the not just the United States, the world.
Think about native peoples living in islands, living in Hawaii, eating fresh fruits and vegetables in the sun all day, every day. Do you think any of them ever once got cancer? No. It was basically non-existent.
I know that in some of the Caribbean islands, and in Japan, they eat very, very healthy, especially in some of these that are rainforests. And they eat very, very healthy, but they had the oldest people in the world in those places. One lady that I met turned 116.
Wow.
Yeah.
I believe it.
And she was walking.
Yeah.
She was still walking.
Yep.
No wheelchairs, none of that. She was at 116 years old.
So I'd say to people out there,
I asked her what it was that did it for you. How'd you do it? And she said, I just drink our spring water. And it was all fresh water. And she goes, I drink a lot of it, and I eat all vegetables.
Yes.
And I eat all the fruits that are growing all over the trees, and everything. A lot of avocados, a lot of avocado trees, all that kind of stuff. She ate all of that.
And the challenge is we don't live in a tropical island.
No,
we don't live by the beach.
No, we don't.
We live in the barbecue capital of the country. Right. Which I'm not saying that's bad. I like barbecue too. But I would challenge anybody out there to eat fruits and vegetables, get hydrated, start getting sunshine in a smart way, morning sunshine, build your body up, let your body produce more melanin so that you can absorb more light, and get tan. Because tell me, when you look at another person, if somebody's pasty white or somebody's tan, who looks healthier?
Oh, I look like a corpse.
The tan person looks healthier, right? We know that.
Yeah, we all know that. Jeez. I scare people. I don't have to dress up for Halloween.
Well, you can work on that.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to ask a few questions about hydration with Dr. Vaughn Lawrence from the Spirit of Health. This is Kansas City. Welcome back to This is Kansas City. We are going to close out our show. I'm sure you've learned a lot today with Dr. Vaughn Lawrence from Spirit of Health. They're located at 5901 Main Street in Grandview, Missouri. You can call them at 816-492-5648 or just go on the web, go to spiritofhealthkc.com. I want to let everybody know that they also, if you're looking for that retail side of the shop where he was talking about all of the natural herbs and wildcrafted herbs, and wildcrafted means, because I've been educated, it means they grow in the same natural region that they were originally from.
Right.
Meaning that they're more potent and they have more benefits.
Wow, you're getting good at this.
Yeah, so if you need more information, you can always call them and ask their experts for advice, or if you know the products that you're looking for, or you just want to browse, they sell everything online. So you can actually get a lot of these detoxes, herbs, spices, not spices, but herbs and what's the other thing? Oh, vitamins.
Minerals. Right.
Yeah, supplements. You can get all of that. They have everything for any kind of ailment you can think of. When I was out there visiting, there was things for constipation. There was things for sleep. There was things for, am I missing? I know I'm missing tons.
Pain.
But, but one of the questions was, and we were talking about getting ready for spring, one of the questions was hydration. As people get more outside, which we were talking about with the spring and the summer, they just like to go outside more, spend more time outside.
Right.
And I think a big part of all of that is you've got to stay hydrated. And people don't understand, I think, that how important that is.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, hydration is crucial. I mean, I do blood work with people, and one of the things I see is chronic dehydration, which you can see pretty easily in people's blood work based off of their markers. So, yeah, some of the tips I give people is, one, drink filtered water. I really think tap water is toxic. There's actually a move now by many, many states, if you've heard, to get fluoride out of the water. Finally, we've been
from the government.
From the government, yeah, we've been crying out about that for 40, 50 years. They're finally listening, I think, because of the Maha movement. So it's exciting that, we're getting fluoride out of the water, but still tap water has all kinds of chemicals, pharmaceutical drugs,
heavy
pesticides, metals.
I drink spring water.
Yeah, so you want to drink some type of filtered water or spring water if you can trust that it's truly spring water, right? You never know with marketing these days.
It's glacier.
Add minerals into your water.
You add minerals, not to spring water, right? Or do I have to? Because
it's hard to know the quality of the water you're getting. I can't speak on that because I don't honestly know.
Okay.
We have a distiller at home. We drink a lot of distilled water. We have a filter at our shop, so a lot of people come to our store just to fill up 5 gallons of water.
And how do you add minerals?
Well, you can add in electrolytes. Which everybody needs electrolytes. So what's the biggest chronic mineral deficiency in our world today?
Salt.
Magnesium. Salt. Well, so I would put salt in there too.
Not table salt, so don't confuse me. We're not talking about table salt.
Just sodium in general.
Sodium in general.
Right.
And when you're talking about dehydration, what that's going to do to your body is it could affect you severely. By the dehydration of your body, without you even knowing it, it will drop your sodium levels so severely, and you will start to get dizzy. You'll start to feel like something's wrong. And you might not even know it, but it's hydration.
And you cannot get any water into any cell of your body without sodium.
Right.
So electrolytes, I like Jigsaw electrolytes. I have another one by Perfect Amino electrolytes. I have a couple different really good electrolyte formulas at our shop, but it's going to have magnesium, potassium, sodium, calcium, all the things you need to properly get hydrated. So it's kind of like why people drink Gatorade, which I don't even let my kids drink Gatorade. And if you don't know, it's illegal in some other countries, or the ingredients are actually different because of the artificial flavors, artificial colors, high fructose corn syrup. I don't even know what's in Gatorade these days. But
it's not just Gatorade. We're talking any sports drinks.
Yeah, any sports drink. So you just want to go to a health food store like ours and get like a really good quality electrolyte, because you need the minerals without the junk, right?
Right. Right.
But we need those minerals. So you definitely want to get electrolytes to get hydrated. And then ocean minerals is the other one. We have minerals called BioOcean. They come out of the ocean, and we actually add those to the kids. We fill up a quart of their little Yeti, mugs that they have, and we fill them with water, and we put a teaspoon of the ocean minerals in there. We make sure they drink 1 or 2 teaspoons of ocean minerals every day. They get their electrolytes every day. And the other thing I'll say on hydration is there's a confusion about how much water we're supposed to drink. It depends on how much water you eat. So if you're eating fruits and vegetables, that's perfect hydration. If you're eating burgers and fries and potato chips, how much water's in any of those foods? 0. So the amount of water, drink a gallon of water and all that, that's ridiculous. It depends on how much water you're eating. If you're eating fruits and vegetables, you're getting hydrated, you need less water. If you're not eating fruits and vegetables, you better be drinking over a half a gallon of water a day, or you're going to be in trouble. So that's all relative depending on your diet.
And on that, we're going to close out the show for today. Dr. Vaughn, like to thank you for being here. Family, to thank you guys for being here. Spirit of Health, KC.com for more information. We will be back Monday, and we're going to have Dr. Vaughn back on in a couple of weeks, and we're going to have more information because this subject has a lot of information in it. We'll be back Monday at 2